Hey, I voted for Donald Trump, and really starting to regret my vote because this isn't what I voted for. I voted for a lot more people to go to jail. I voted for a lot more politicians to be stripped of their power and put in prison for the crimes that they've committed against humanity. I voted for the Epstein list to come out. The full list. The full fucking list of every politician, every bureaucrat that had anything to do with those minors.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great time. Now we have seen a lot of things happening in the United States since Donald Trump took over the office in his second term. Many Americans have complained about his foreign policy, his trade policy. For example, we have looked at how the tariffs that he has been imposing on different nations have led to a lot of economic mishap on American people. And currently, there is this cry that most Americans are having, and especially white Americans. They are saying that living standards in the United States are becoming unbearable. Things that are happening there for them is not like what they thought it could be. They believe that voting President Trump would bring in a new leap of hope. They would have space to really have a better economy compared to what Joe Biden offered them. But then looking at what Trump is doing, many months into his second term, nothing is really responding in the best way possible that they would wish they could get. Here are some lamentations of how these Americans are crying out loud, and they are saying Donald Trump is doing them dirty. He is not really living up to what he promised he would do. He said he's going to sort the economy, but looking at what economy is having right now, no positivity for them. They have nothing to smile about. Let's watch this, then come back and share our thoughts in the end.
I regret my vote. I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump. And now, in the first few weeks of his presidency, thousands of people are losing their jobs. I lost my job. I was the director of operations of bear studies. For the last 4 years, we've been studying whether or not bears in fact shit in the woods. And now it's gone. It's all gone. What am I supposed to tell my family? What am I supposed to tell them? If you voted for Trump, I don't even know what to say except fuck you. All the money being taken, and all the jobs being lost. I don't know what to do.
Hold on, what did you just say about Trump?
I said, Trump's a fucking liar. Inflation's going up. Gas prices hasn't really come down that much. Eggs, that's the funny one. The eggs. I'm mad. And I'm a mega man. Okay? I don't see anything he's done.
So is it safe to say that the illusion has faded?
I think it has, yes. You know, I was for him because, you know, everything he said. You know, he played right into my hands. He just told us everything we wanted to hear. That's what he did. I can't even stand to look at him because, you know, he's just he's a con. He's a flat ass, nothing but a fucking con. You know, they all the right side, they say, oh yeah, the Biden side was so bad. Well, what's so good about the right side? He brags about doing something with our economy, but I haven't seen anything happen yet. That big beautiful bill is going to add, they say $2.5 trillion. It's going to add about $4 trillion to the debt. The big beautiful bill. Oh, what a joke. Remember what happened in the 80s with trickle-down economics? Yeah, the filthy rich got richer and us guys that worked for a living paid more taxes. I'm disappointed for sure. I'm real disappointed.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are gonna go bankrupt now. We are gonna go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported, and he was coming after immigrants. Yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business.
All of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter, and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying.
I never thought I'd say it, but I'm regretting my vote for Donald Trump. We were promised things that aren't being delivered. He's been president, what, a month now? Where's my handmaid? We were promised handmaids. I don't have a handmaid. All these women who dressed up as handmaids, who swore that they were going to be forced into servitude. Not one for me. Is it Trump? Or is this something Elon is doing as a cost-cutting measure?
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you would do what was right and cut waste and fraud and all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America is going to look like if this continues.
Did you ever think that your job would be impacted in a Trump administration?
No, absolutely not.
Jennifer Piggott was abruptly fired from her job at the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service here in Parkersburg, West Virginia, along with 124 other probationary employees. She'd voted for Donald Trump and thought her government job would be safe.
But to cut the knees out of the working class Americans just doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's what's the checking account look like, babe? We went through our list of items on our budget and said, what can we get rid of? And we've gotten rid of all of those things, including cable. I had my last review on the 31st of January, and I had the highest rating that you can get on a review, less than 21 days before I was terminated for my performance.
On top of losing her job, Jennifer is facing backlash from both Democrats and Republicans for speaking out. She's received death threats and more.
Our home's been egged. You know, they've hacked my Instagram and posted horrible things about my deceased mother.
Lloyd, what's the message?
Jesus died on that cross so we could live, and this is not living.
Amen. I respect that.
In 2 weeks, I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting
my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. A lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep regrets.
I feel guilty because I voted for Trump twice. I feel very guilty because I feel responsible. That's why he's still running.
I was with Trump for 9 straight years. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Trump right now.
Okay, why'd you vote for Donald Trump?
Well, to be honest, I wanted no tax on overtime, but I'm starting to regret my decision because I think it's a lie now.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you honestly think that's going to happen?
I don't.
Yeah, that's my opinion about that. So, I don't know. I really don't know much about politics, but yeah, I just like to say I enjoy your show and I learn a lot from you.
I appreciate you. One thing I would say is, like, make sure someone has a reputable character. Donald Trump has, like, the least reputable character. I was pretty certain he was lying about that from the very beginning. It sounded like he was just giving off, like, he was literally, like, doing the Republican meme. You know, Republicans are always like, Democrats want to give out free money. Like, that's literally what Donald Trump was doing. Like, they're literally just lying. He was, like, lying about giving out free money.
Yeah, you're right.
Guys, today, February 10th. It's a day I'll never forget. It's the day I regret voting for Donald Trump. Getting rid of all these jobs. I just lost my job after 10 years. 10 years on the research and development team.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I want to preface what you're about to see by noting I am not looking for sympathy or validation here. I was just expressing some remorse and some grief and some sorrow, because I think it can help a lot of people to kind of process through that. A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that. There are moments where I'm just overcome with grief and regret. Not anger, not rage, but just grief and regret over having voted for Trump in 2016. And I get that I've come a long way. I get all that. That doesn't take away those moments. It does not take away the regret, the guilt. I mean, I could work through it, and I do that regularly for a lot of different issues, not just who I voted for in 2016, but I just wanted to document this because this is one of those moments. I just saw the Kamala Harris ad talking about how she is the president for all the people and how Trump has a history of wanting to withhold aid from people who didn't vote for him. And I was partly responsible for putting him in office. I was part of that crowd. And that's something I'm going to have to live with. And I will. But there are moments like right now where that can be overwhelming.
I'm gonna say it, and it needs to be said. I'm a diehard Republican and a Trump supporter, and I voted for him. With that said, the hypocrisy the Republican Party is showing is appalling at best. I would have never voted for what has happened in the past 5 weeks. I didn't vote for Elon Musk. I didn't vote for the president of Ukraine to get ousted. And I didn't vote for half of America to get laid off. Yeah, I understand bringing jobs back to America, but now the job market is completely flooded because of how this was implemented. Yeah, I understand tariffs, but now they're just being passed down to the recently unemployed. Because yes, I am one of those innocent bystanders that got laid off due to foreign aid, and my heart is now broken. I feel completely betrayed by this administration. Trump needs to do better. Him and his whole crew. This is insulting and completely embarrassing. The entire country is embarrassing right now.
Hey guys, I'm back with my multi-part video series on why I am starting to regret my vote for Trump. So this video is going to touch on racism and the mass deportations that are taking place. I just want to start the video by saying I'm not looking to justify my choices or make excuses, simply explaining my thought process and my decision-making process going into the election in hopes that I can reach other MAGAs who are ready to leave the cult. So, let's start with his comments about the cats and dogs. When I first heard that comment, I did think that it was one of the dumbest things that I had ever heard. I never thought that it was true, but instead of doing anything about it, I just kind of brushed it off as a joke, which you definitely shouldn't do. I minimized his behavior by turning it into a joke. And now I kind of want to touch on the mass deportation that's happening right now. So we are told that it's just illegal criminals that are being deported. Like, when I voted for deportations and stronger border control, I did not think that it would happen the way that it is. I truly think that it is illegal. It goes against our Constitution. And that's just how I feel. It's really sad and disheartening that people are okay with everyday people who pay taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, are getting deported for absolutely no reason at all. MAGA, this is so hard to see. I don't understand it, and I hope that you guys are just ignorant to it and you're not actually in support of it. But anyways, I want to get back to the part where I just minimized the behavior. We were told it was just illegal immigrants. We were told that they want to protect the women. This is the best way to protect the women. All the criminals are going to leave. You know, it's going to be safer for us. Just remember cases like in Riley. And it was just really kind of shoved down our throats, I guess, that they were protecting women. And I, like many other MAGAs, fell for it. I just wanted to make the country a better place for our citizens. I didn't think that they were going to start deporting literally anyone and everyone that looks different. I don't think it's right to racially profile, which is exactly what they're doing. And I don't agree with it at all. I don't support Guantanamo Bay. Sorry if I did say that wrong. I don't think that prisons should be built. I know I don't want my taxpayer money going towards that. I also just want to point out that Trump's administration said, like, this is for the greater good. And we're protecting families. And only, illegal criminals are being targeted. I still think MAGA doesn't know what's happening or that it goes against our Constitution at all. And I really hope this reaches you guys. because this is really such like a disheartening thing to see. But yeah, that's basically all I have for the racism. I know Trump has been racist towards other cultures. All I can say is I don't know enough to speak on those topics because I was ignorant and I am trying to learn and grow from that. All you can do is learn. So, thanks for listening.
Do you guys remember this lady? Well, I'm trying not to laugh. This is her now.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
They voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump deport. You heard that right, guys. Janet Correa, the famous Trump singing lady, has had her husband detained by ICE. And not only that, but he got put on expedited removal. They want him out of the US. They don't want him. But of course, we've been telling them this all along. They don't want you, bro. Also, do you remember the time I went viral because I told people to call ICE on Latinos for Trump and the family members of Latinos for Trump? It looks like it's happening, and I couldn't be happier. You reap what you sow, and I stand by what I say. But anyways, play silly games, get silly prizes. Let me know what you guys think.
I hope y'all don't get mad at me for this, but I regret my vote. And I know what you're going to say. Well, you didn't regret it when he was making fun of the disabled community. You didn't regret it when he was threatening the people of color and the black community. You didn't regret it when he was increasing hate crimes against the LGBTQI community. Or you didn't regret it when he was changing the narrative of who literally started a war. Or you're going to say I didn't regret it when he increased hate crimes in both of his terms. Or his ignorance during COVID that cost us thousands and thousands of lives. Or I didn't regret it when he bends over for Israel and Russia. Or I should have said something when there's literally a recording of him bragging about essaying women. Or I could have caught a clue maybe during the felonies, or the way he speaks about his daughter, or maybe just the way he talks about people in general. Like the way he talks about Democrats, that should have gave me a clue how he was going to treat people in general that did not bend over for him. But alas, I must admit, it wasn't until it finally hit that it could be my children that go to war that I decided I regretted my vote. That's how dumb some of y'all sound, just saying.
Wow. Now looking at what is happening to white Americans right now, I think there is no helping them. They made this decision when they were presented with other alternatives that they were supposed to vote. They did not like them, and therefore they decided to vote Trump. And that is what has led to almost everything that we are seeing right now. Trump is failing and failing terribly. I'm sure maybe over some time he could get some leeway and have some positive results. But currently, as it stands, many Americans are complaining the economy is not doing as they thought it could because Trump tariff policies are hurting trade. In fact, we saw the other day when farmers were complaining, they were saying, how on earth can Trump implement tariffs to countries where we export our produce? Yet America does not have any ready market for the farm produce that we have. He also hit them with immigrant expulsion and immigrant deportation. This had negative impact on farmers. So all these things have had a ripple effect on the entire American economy as it is today. So there are different reasons why Americans are thinking that Trump is not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not really being the Trump that he promised to be because economy has not improved any inch. And that is a clarion call that most people are saying. If this is the reason why we voted for Trump, why is it that we are not finding the benefits of ever voting him? If anything, he's even making things worse. Is it that Trump is clueless, or his trade policies or even economic policies were not really well thought through when they were being presented to us? All that was presented was rosy affairs, and everybody thought that Trump was going to get in there and have his hands on deck. But looking at what Americans are saying in the social media right now, your guess is as good as mine. They are not happy at all. So many Americans judge Trump's economic performance against a stronger baseline from previous decades when wages were higher, manufacturing jobs were plentiful, and economic growth felt more evenly distributed. For older white voters, the late 20th century represents a period of relative stability and upward mobility. In contrast, many black Americans never experienced these eras with the same level as economic security due to systemic barriers. So there is that comparison where many may be centered to recent administrations rather than a golden age standard. So that is why you find that white Americans are asking themselves, why is it that black people seem to be doing well? They're not complaining so much as we are. Because blacks have been used to these kind of situations. They have been persecuted, they have worked without any pay during slavery, they have been sidelined by mainstream government structures, and therefore all that they have, much of it comes from their own sweat, comes from their own conviction and their own fight towards getting a better thing that they can get. So if you look at them and the whites who have always depended on working government structures, then those who feel much disadvantaged are those who have depended on government doing well for them to have positive economic outcome. Economic dissatisfactions among white Americans often reflect sharp downturn in rural and small town economies, where industries like coal, steel, and auto manufacturing have struggled. Trump's trade policies and tariff wars sometimes worsened these declines, making economic pain more visible in majorly white areas dependent on such industries. Since black Americans are more centered in urban centers and service sector jobs, the direct blow from those specific industrial losses may have been felt more heavily within white communities. So we know, as just have been said here, that most blacks are concentrated in urban areas and their works are always service driven. But when we look at the blue collar economy, we have many whites working in that sector. Looking at the trade wars that Trump has had with different countries and the tariffs that he's been imposing left, right, and center, it is only evident that the people who are going to suffer from these tariffs largely are those who work in the industries. Majorly, we find that those who work in these industries and those who have depended on them for many years are whites. And that is why any impact on industrial growth is directly proportional to what is going to happen to those who are employed with these industries. And therefore, if there is a decline, if there are countries who have said that they are not going to invest in the United States because of the tariffs, that is going to directly affect industries. And those who are going to be directly affected are whites. Another thing that we must look at is the political expectation and disappointment. Many people had different desires when they were voting for Trump during this second term. A significant portion of white Americans, especially those who supported Trump in 2016, expected him to deliver dramatic economic revitalization. When promised manufacturing booms and wages surge did not materialize or were offset by firm bankruptcies, rising health costs, and inflation, some of these voters shifted towards a negative assessment. Black Americans who are generally more skeptical of Trump from the start may have had low expectations, so their views did not change as sharply. Yes, black Americans didn't think Trump was gonna have any positive impact to American economy. And therefore, when they're looking at what is coming out right now, they have nothing to really lose. In fact, it doesn't even affect them because they knew, and that is what they expected, Trump was not going to deliver anything positive. So looking at what is happening right now and the things that are coming out, it is only safe to say that blacks were right all along. Whites were not right because they didn't really have proper analysis and vetting of Trump and whether his economic policies would amount to much for them. In addition, some white Americans compare Trump's economic record to previous governments and feel his policies favored the wealthy and corporations at the expense of working class families. The 2017 tax cut, while boosting corporate profit, did not significantly raise real wages for many. For white Americans who saw themselves as the intended beneficiaries of Trump's America First agenda, the perception that they were left behind can feel stronger and fuel stronger disapproval compared to black Americans who may have seen his policies as never aimed at helping them. Yes, if whites expected Trump to help them economically. The tax cuts that he had in 2017 and even those that he has proposed now, we are finding out that those who are favored largely are the wealthy. These corporate leaders do not really have a direct impact on the lives of American middle class, and therefore, looking at the majority who are the middle class, they are crying a lot because they are finding that the government does not in any way have anything to favor them. Trump might have different intentions with these cuts that he's proposing, but then looking at the immediate outcome of what Trump's economic output and the plans is giving to Americans, the only thing that they can say is complain about how unfair Trump's tax policies are to them. Another thing is, we must remember that in Trump's first term, COVID broke out, and there are a lot of things that happened that shaped economies of different countries from there onwards. The pandemic's economic fallout in 2020 heavily shaped perceptions of Trump's economic management. White Americans in suburban and small business sectors, many of whom had been economically comfortable before, experienced sudden losses in income, saving, and job stability because they had more to lose relative to their pre-pandemic situation. The downturn fell sharper. Black Americans, while hit hard by job losses too, had historically faced more economic precarity, meaning the expectations for Trump's economic performance may not have been as tied to preserving an already strong position. Black Americans, while hit hard by job losses too, had historically faced more economic precarity, meaning the expectations for Trump's economic performance may not have been as tied to preserving an already strong position. So, looking at this, you will be able to appreciate the fact that Trump and his economic output or economic plan, the things that is getting currently are not really positive. When we look at how America is performing currently, most people are crying because things are becoming more expensive. They are not able to afford certain things, and this has a negative outcome in their general economic output. Share your thoughts down in the comment section, and if you're watching us for the first time, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. Thank you, and let's meet on the next one.